Live, the news you count on. NBC2, News at 3.
A busy shopping center in Naples is now the center of a death investigation.
NBC2 is live as investigators collect evidence.
And people in Naples are getting their stuff back after police find two teens accused of breaking into cars.
And 1 year after the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, family members remember their loved ones while politicians push for change.
Plus, the president lashes out after a former acting FBI director says there were talks about removing the president from office. The News at 3 starts right now. We begin with breaking news at 3. The Collier County Sheriff's Office has just confirmed in the last 20 minutes they've arrested 39-year-old Brandon Jensen for murdering a man in North Naples. Now, NBC2 is working to get his picture. The crime scene is still active right now at 3 o'clock. This happened right here behind a shopping center on Airport Pulling Road in Pine Ridge Road. NBC2's Alexa Santos has been digging on this all day. Alexa, what are we learning about this arrest?
Well, crime scene investigators have been here on scene behind the plaza at Airport Pulling Road and Pine Ridge Road for about 12 hours. Now, the call came in at about 3 a.m. We know this is a death investigation, and crime scene units have been on scene examining this camper all day. Witnesses say a man was shot to death in the camper. People who work in the plaza say they've seen a man living out there for at least a month, and they believe he was doing work on one of the stores.
This camper that was parked there, we figured he worked with that construction company because we saw hookups, electrical hookups and water hookups. And a lot of times when we go by, you could see he had a little table there with a grill.
At this time, we're still waiting on a victim identification from the sheriff's office. Reporting live in Collier County, Alexa Santos, NBC2.
Alexa, thank you. Breaking news at 3. William Barr has been confirmed as U.S. Attorney General. The Senate approved his appointment today. He takes place of Jeff Sessions, who was reportedly pushed out by President Trump last year. Barr previously served from 1991 to 1993. He'll oversee the remaining work in Mueller's investigation of potential coordination between the Kremlin and the Trump campaign, and he'll be sworn in at 4:45 this evening in the Oval Office.
More breaking news at 3. An arrest has been made after somebody threatened to shoot up Fort Myers High School. That threat was for today. NBC2 is digging to find out who was arrested. We're confirming the school resource officer discovered a threatening text, and parents were told about it last night.
And there have been more than a dozen threats to schools in the area in 2019 alone. And to put that in perspective, we had that same number during all of 2018. Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marcino said in a press event yesterday they will prosecute cases like this to the fullest extent of the law.
Amazon is pulling out of plans for a second headquarters in New York City. The company blames local and state politicians for opposing their plans to build in Long Island City. Amazon says it will not look for a different location.
Breaking at 3, a Cape Coral man is headed to jail convicted of having drugs smuggled into the country from China. 59-year-old Davis Swanson had at least 1,000 grams of ecstasy shipped from Hong Kong to his home in the Cape. Investigators started tracking his package in Houston. Police say Swanson tried to ditch the package on the side of the road. He has a sentencing hearing coming up on the 19th of this month. 2 teens arrested in Naples for breaking into several cars. It happened this morning in the Milano community of Marcello Circle. That's just off Livingston Road in Naples. A car was towed away from the scene, and deputies found several items they gave back to neighbors. NBC2 is working right now to find out how many cars the suspects hit and how much was taken, plus what charges they now face.
Well, we mentioned that threat at Fort Myers High School. It's crazy to think today marks 1 year since 17 lives were tragically lost at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
The shooting reignited the gun control debate and fueled a national movement led by students. But the teens say they're staying out of the spotlight today to honor those killed and injured in the shooting. The interviews in this story were done days ago. Here's Carrie Sanders.
Here in Parkland, time will stand still again for a community forever changed. A moment of silence to remember and honor the 17 lives lost 1 year ago. This somber anniversary has been designated a day of service and love at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas and the other schools in the district.
It's definitely a difficult thing to put yourself in the place you were a year ago.
Many students will spend today doing community service projects.
I got shot right here.
The struggle to make sense of the tragedy still very real for many of the young survivors.
I do feel the question of why am I still here? But because I know that I have some sort of purpose, that kind of keeps me going.
As for the student leaders who emerged on the national stage,
we call BS!
Pushing for gun control and registering young voters.
Register, educate, vote!
They have chosen to spend the day out of the spotlight to honor and pay tribute to those who were lost that day. Some of them speaking with NBC's Kate Snow a few days ago.
I think that something that goes over people's heads is that we lost Valentine's Day forever. We don't get to celebrate a universal day of love, of friendship, of compassion. I don't even want to hear the words Valentine's Day again.
They say their fight for limiting access to guns will never stop.
You have not seen The Last of Us.
This week, survivors and their families launching a new petition urging Florida lawmakers to ban assault weapons like the one used by the admitted Parkland shooter.
People do not lose people to gun violence. People are stolen from us from gun violence.
Things look different now, not just in Parkland. Armed guards now standard at all Florida schools. President Trump speaking Wednesday about the anniversary.
Nothing is more important than protecting our children.
Can what happened at Parkland happen again?
Unfortunately, I do think what happened in Parkland can happen again.
Lori Al-Hadef's 14-year-old daughter, Alyssa, was killed in Parkland. She has turned her grief into action, winning a seat on the Broward County School Board, promising to protect other children.
I think people are living in a bubble, just like I was. My goal now is to make sure schools are safe everywhere.
That's Kerry Sanders reporting. So far, no trial date has been set for the admitted gunman, Nicholas Cruz. His lawyers pushed for a plea deal that would avoid the death penalty, but prosecutors rejected that offer.
Meanwhile, here in the NBC2 Alert Center, we have confirmed there's a shooting at a mall in Virginia. Take a look at this live shot on Sat 23. This is the outside of a mall, and manager at Nordstrom confirmed that shots were fired near their store. We know that 2 people have been taken to the hospital, but we don't know what their conditions are. This, of course, a fluid scene we're just learning more about. So I'll continue to follow this live feed and bring you any breaking updates I find.
Imagine driving a semi-truck and then it just stalls out in the middle of railroad tracks and a train is coming. That's exactly what happened to a man in Dallas, Texas. You take a look at the aftermath right there. So this does have a good ending. The semi-driver was able to get out of that truck right before the train came by and hitting it. The train was going too fast. It couldn't stop. Unbelievably, the train stayed on its tracks and nobody was hurt.
2 people and a dog were rescued from floodwaters in California. It happened early this morning in Chico. Crews say the man and woman went under the bridge in order to get out of the rain. They fell asleep, and by the time they woke up around 4 a.m., the water had risen around them, and they were stranded on a makeshift island under that bridge. Firefighters used a ladder to bring the couple and dog back up to the bridge for safety.
President Trump's former advisor, Roger Stone, will appear in court today. Stone is charged with obstruction, lying, and witness tampering. This is part of the ongoing Russia investigation, but Stone is not accused of collusion. Stone denies all charges against him. Former Trump campaign chief Paul Manafort no longer has a plea deal. Federal judge Amy Jackson revoked the deal after prosecutors for special counsel Robert Mueller say Manafort lied about communication with Russia. According to them, Manafort lied on 3 separate occasions. A new study shows that Americans spent more time taxiing the runway last year than we have in a decade. Almost 250 flights were delayed for more than 3 hours in the first 11 months of 2018. That's a 49% increase from 2017. Tarmac delays have been steadily increasing over the past 5 years. And how about this? Airlines can actually be fined for delays that last longer than 3 hours. Ding Darling Wildlife Society has its eye on new land. It's looking to buy 68 acres near the Wildlife Refuge on Sanibel. But it's going to cost them. The group announced a campaign to raise $9.5 million during yesterday's Go Wild for Ding fundraiser. The group is looking for $3 million in private donations, and so far, they've already raised $2 million. Well, if you like the Minnesota Twins, you'll see a fresh face leading spring training this year. Today was the Twins' first day of practice, and NBC2's Sean Barry was there for what's shaping up to be an exciting spring. Sean.
It should be exciting because there's lots of new things going on for the Twins this season. First off, for the first time in 14 years, no Joe Mauer for Minnesota. So there's a lot of new faces in the clubhouse, a new spring training schedule as well, and most notably, a new manager. At just 37 years old, Rocco Baldelli takes over as the Minnesota Twins skipper after spending the last 3 seasons as a coach in the Tampa Bay Rays system. For the first day on the job, though, Baldelli says, hey, it was smooth sailing.
Honestly, it went great. The guys, we get to come together for the first time with everyone, and the guys brought great energy out onto the field. It's just trying to get the most out of our guys, in a good, concise, short period of time. And it's only day 1, so we got a long way to go. But that's what we kind of focus our attention on.
Baldelli wasn't the only new member of the coaching staff. Fort Myers native Tommy Watkins will serve as Baldelli's first base coach this season. Coming up at 5:30, hear from Watkins about his new role with the big club. Live in the studio, Sean Barry, NBC2.
All new ahead at 4.
Well, even if you don't like the Twins, their presence here is actually benefiting all of us, or the Red Sox too. NBC2 explains why and how ahead at 4.
Plus, a stunning interview reveals how close the president came to facing an early impeachment. Those conversations ahead at 3:30.
And the state of Colorado is just rolling in dough after another banner year of letting people roll their own stuff. A broader look at the business of legal weed coming up. Well, if you head on over to NBC2's Instagram account, you'll see the Valentine's cards that we prepared for all of you at home. I have to say, I think mine is the worst.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say you thought yours was the best.
I think yours is pretty good. Rob's was pretty clever.
This was good, too. It had a little bit of rain on it.
I tried my best at a pun, so if you're into puns, you'll want to vote for mine because it's probably the best.
Yeah, we'll have to see what you guys think. Check out our Instagram. But first, Rob's going to tell us if it's nice enough to go outside for your Valentine's Day date. Maybe
if you've got a date tonight, the weather looks great. But if you don't have a date, the weather looks great for you too. And if you want to join some other people who are anti-Valentine's Day, you've got lots of friends tonight in Cape Coral. Tonight,